fellow fright fans, welcome back to Horror Hotel once again, where it's time for Creepy Cheapies, where we meet every so often to discuss and appreciate and celebrate and recognize and acknowledge the great art of mask making and all the cool monster masks that come out every year and help you scare people at Halloween. Now, today I have a mask to show you that's a great work of art with, I think, a dumb name. A great mask with a dumb name. I've complained before about how many masks use the same names over and over, and it gets confusing as the centuries roll on. So these people should come up with some newer names, I think. But here is yet another one. It's mask 643, called Possessed. Now, that is what it's called. I don't know about you, but when I think of possessed as a name for something like a scary face, I think of something along the lines of The Exorcist or The Evil Dead, or something that indicates a human being who has been possessed, meaning that they are cohabitating in their body, usually involuntarily, with some sort of evil spirit that is possessing their body. Well, clearly this is not a case of that, because this was never a human organism to begin with. This looks like an old porcelain doll, all right, that is cracked and broken, and for some reason something inside it is coming out that looks like, well, I think this guy learned how to do that from his friend Pennywise from It. He learned how to make all these toothy protuberances protrude from his feeding area and thereabouts. But this is not the greatest one to wear around at a party, because it's so crazy and stark and has these big open eyes and this big weird mouth with all the things sticking out. But to me it looks more like a spectacular work of horror art that would be hanging in a museum. You know, it doesn't really look like an active character as much as it looks like a visual representation of madness, of just insanity, because this started out as a doll and then things went crazy and it went all berserk. And you see these black lines here, that's not cracks, those are black goop dripping. Okay, that's paint dripping down. So those are going to be a little different on each mask, of course. But the general look here is this white porcelain look. And I should mention that this is a product from the folks at Immortal Masks, who for many years specialized in masks that were silicone, that were very high-priced items, very deluxe, including a silicone version of this guy, which sold for somewhere between $500 and $1 million, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood, yeah, which was silicone. But the latex version didn't come out until 2023, when they started making latex masks for fun.com or halloweencostumes.com, a division of Fun, etc., fun.com. Yeah, so fun.com is where you want to get one of these. And this thing, no kidding, this thing is like 30 or 40 bucks, amazingly cheap. The paint job is worth that much. Look at this. What a crazy work of art this is. Like I said, it belongs in a museum of horrors, I think. It's such a sophisticated and elegant thing in its own crazy way, because of those eyes and because of the just the general weirdness. You know, it doesn't fit into any particular category of monsters or zombies or corpses or ghosts or space creatures or anything. It's just weird for weird's sake. And why did they finally come out with a latex version that's 40 bucks instead of just going with their $500 silicone version? Well, I think good for them. I think they needed to, because Immortal Masks was being ripped off so frequently. They were kind of, it's almost like they were vying for the Zagoni Award for most imitated, because people overseas were making masks that were obvious imitations of Immortal Masks and selling them for the price of, you know, a lunch at Burger King. So the people at Immortal Masks finally were moved to start producing latex copies that were more affordable to the collectors who were buying inferior quality knockoffs of their designs. Why not make good ones for those collectors and sell them at lower prices. So if you want the high-end silicone one for hundreds of dollars, you can still get that. Or if you just want to spend $30 or $40 or $50 or $60, you can get Immortal Masks now from fun.com. And this one, by the way, if you think it looks familiar, and I'll bet you don't, it was actually used in a movie, and I wish I was joking, but no. The movie with, I think, the least scary title for a film since Snow White and the Three Stooges. This was used in a movie called, I'm not kidding, I'm serious, called The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. What? Now, everybody knows Humpty Dumpty is an egg. Humpty Dumpty is an anthropomorphic egg. He's an egg with little arms and legs and a face. And if not an actual egg, at least he should be, a small, short, fat man with an egg-like aspect about him. And there are some different opinions and different views, different interpretations of what exactly the original Humpty Dumpty poem or riddle or whatever it originally was hundreds of years ago. There are differing views on what it might have meant or who it might have been talking about, if anybody, but nobody thinks it was ever this. Nobody has ever heard Humpty Dumpty and thought, oh, that's that scary, horrible porcelain doll that comes to life with big spiky things sticking out. Although, no, it just doesn't work. And the movie, you'd think it was a comedy, and you're like, oh, Dr. Lady's not in on the joke. Well, that's possible. That's possible, but I think they were serious because the movie doesn't have much of a sense of humor. I think it's pretty serious, and I think they were serious about it. And the weirdest thing about it is that, there's two things I can think of already. The two weirdest things about it, one is the completely daft notion that this 4 foot tall or 5 foot tall doll with the creepiest face you've ever seen was somebody's favorite childhood toy. Like a child has a favorite, like your friends that are teddy bears and stuffed animals and baby dolls and all the different childhood friends. This thing starts out in The Curse of Humpty Dumpty, the movie, as something I think even scarier than this, because this looks like a work of art. Like this is a statement, but the creepy head they use at the beginning of the movie before he turns into this is so scary and creepy and bizarre. And even in an era when people have gone way too far into, oh, everything's creepy and all the clowns and toys and plastic doll faces and everybody's creeped out by everything. Even though I don't usually agree that any of that stuff is creepy at all. Some of the creepy pastas are creepy, some of them are not even creepy, some of them are just dumb. But they don't have a category for dumb pastas, so they all go under creepy. But the thing that this starts out as, and the character who loved it is like, oh, it's my old childhood Humpty Dumpty toy, and yet nobody in the world would look at that scary thing with its weird zombie-like face and its big buggy eyes. Nobody except possibly Wednesday Addams or me would have ever claimed it as a favorite childhood toy. And then in the movie, the other weird thing is that this giant doll with a human head-sized head looks to be maybe 4 or 5 feet tall when it's an inanimate object, and about 6 feet tall when it's a guy in a mask. And when it changes, you don't get to see this weird transformation with all these things sprouting out and moving around. Now they just kind of switch heads from the closed mouth creepy head to the bizarro head that you see here. And you would think that a monster with all these spiky appendages and teeth and such sticking out all over the place, all this unsightly spookiness and gory stuff and weaponry sticking out, you'd think he would bite people, right? You'd think he would be a people eater. No, he sticks people with a knife like Michael Myers. So he just goes around and he has this face with all this weird stuff coming out, and then he just stabs people like any cheap 2-bit murderer would do in real life. for that matter. So it's kind of disappointing there, and disappointing that they didn't do any effects to make this stuff really animate or move around. No, he just kind of stomps about and kills some people, and the story behind it is so full of holes. You could build a freeway and have like semi-traffic right through the holes in the plot. One of which is not just the way he kills people, but apparently there's a cult who worships Humpty Dumpty. I know it sounds like I'm kidding, but there's a cult that worships this evil spirit. And when are people going to learn you shouldn't worship evil spirits because they're evil? You know, inevitably you get disappointed because they don't so much obey your every command as they do kill you. And then you're screaming, this isn't fair! And then the demonic entity of evil is like, evil? Hello? Because that's what evil things do. So don't worship evil things. You can't get on the good side of an entity who doesn't have one. You see, it's that simple. So all these people in the movies are really, really, really idiots, aren't they? Aren't these people stupid who are just like, oh, if we serve the mighty Gastronacaflacamus, he will give us eternal power because he's the most evil entity. No, if he's evil, he will trick you and fool you and lie to you and come back and, you know, do something terrible to you instead of giving you money and power and wealth because he's evil. So don't just break up those cults right now. No more worshiping of things that are evil because it's stupid and it just doesn't work, as the people find out in movies like The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. And there's at least one sequel, The Cult of Humpty Dumpty. And again, I wish I was kidding, but this is a serious thing. The Cult of Humpty Dumpty is the second one. There may be more sequels, but those are the only two of which I am aware. The Curse of Humpty Dumpty and The Cult of Humpty Dumpty. But you have to ignore the whole Humpty Dumpty thing because it doesn't work in the films and it doesn't work in your head. And you just have to look at this for the beautifully bizarre and crazy thing it is and just see it as a strange work of macabre art. All right, the visual poetry of the weird Immortal Masks 2023, available from fun.com. Possessed porcelain doll freaky mask. And as far as my haunted attraction or haunted hayride or something, I don't think I would so much wear this and run around and, you know, scare people and play a character. I don't think I would do that with him. I think I would just put him on a figure that's non-animated, a static mannequin figure, and just let people walk past, and it would be one of those things that, no, it's not constantly moving, so you don't see that movement going on, but it's so creepy that you kind of think it might. So I think I would go for that kind of scariness with it rather than the blah, blah, blah kind of scariness. Although that kind is nice too. And by the way, an alert viewer asked me, what is that bottle you sometimes have on the desk there that keeps changing color? And I wish I could tell you it was a magic formula from an ancient wizard or some sort of nuclear, radioactive, atomic-powered something or other. But no, the truth is it's just a new formula for mask paint that I've been working on. Just a bottle of mask paint. And as for why it keeps changing color, well, it's for artists who can't make up their minds.